Welcome back to the CryptoLabs YouTube channel. Today we're going to talk about cash flow, yield farming, DeFi as a business, and really answer the question why I think cash flow is the most important thing you can optimize for first and everything else second. And what I get a lot is, Lucas, you would have done better just holding it, or, you know, Lucas, why not just buy Bitcoin and hold it? And I really hope that this brings clarity to my philosophy and my view that has worked very well for me because I value time over money. And most people who are saying, Lucas, you're an idiot, buy and hold, whatever, it's very obvious to me that they value money over time. And it's very obvious to me as to why they are where they are. I pay a lot of money to buy my time back. I don't know the last time I cooked. I don't know the last time I made a meal. Lucas, but that's nice because you have money. Before I had money, while I was still in debt, I would swipe my Visa. I would pay for coaches, pay for mentors. I'd get my food made for me, meal prep services, whatever I had to do to buy back my time so I could use my time to build the life I wanted. And this video is going to be super important. So as you can see here in SUI USDC, over the last just over a week, I made over almost $1,300, and I started with $8,000, just about $8,000. So, to many people, this one position itself would be very close to a full-time income versus just holding. Now, I can also say, hey, I've been in range for a very long time. I've been in SUI for a very long time. And yes, I popped out of range a few times, but very few people took profit anyway. So the question, and I really want to answer this is, why do I optimize for cash flow? I'm going to bring up my screen here. To make sense of this, we have to ask ourselves the question, what is more important to you, time or money? Now, how you answer that will dictate how you go about investing and how you look at business and how you look at everything else. But I value time infinitely more than money. Money in my bank account means diddly squat if I don't have time. And I learned this. I was working a full-time job. I hated it. I was working on the rig. So it's like 12 hours a day, minus 40 out. It just sucked. And I realized I'm making money, but I don't have any time. I don't like this. And so I had to go to that extreme to realize I don't care. I sold my house. I had to because I got into debt. I quit my job, sold my house, and I said, I'm getting my time back no matter what it takes. And I got deep in debt by buying back my time. But that was a fair trade for me because I was building the life I wanted, and I knew by investing and by getting my meal prep for me, people thought I was crazy. By getting an assistant, by getting an accountant, whatever takes my time that isn't moving my life forward, I am going to outsource because I know this will be worth it. Now, we all have 24 hours if you live on planet Earth. And, 8 is typically spent sleeping. I know some people and some gurus will say just sleep less. There might be seasons of it, but we can't maintain that. I sleep 8 hours a night, and I don't make exceptions for it unless I'm traveling or some odd things here and there. But we sleep 8 hours. That's poof, gone. We can't get that back. Sleep is super important. I speak to my subconscious before I go to sleep, and I wake up with many answers. So I think sleep is actually extremely useful, and it can actually move your life forward. Most people, they use sleep as like a passive. I'm just going to go to sleep. Anyways, most people work around 8 hours a day. Most people would argue I work more than that. And if you love your job, you've already won. If you love what you do, you've already won. I do this, but by doing this is my job. But by doing this, I'm also becoming a better investor. I love it. I'm not complaining about it. Most people are doing stuff they hate. So that's gone. 8 hours is gone. Then, they make their meals. They go grocery shopping. They have to commute. They do whatever they're doing in here. And they have a small sliver of time left to maybe build the life they want. And most of the time, they're too tired or burnt out by the end of the day to do that anyways, because they gave their energy to a job that's probably draining them, and they gave their energy to having to make a meal and wash the dishes and do all these things. I'm not judging it, but I'm telling you right now, before I had money, I was in debt. I did not do my dishes because my time was better spent building the skills I needed in order to succeed in life. It's very opposite than how most people think. Now, to bring this back to Robert Kiyosaki's lesson, most people, they make an income, so they trade their time for money, then they go buy liabilities. By definition, a liability is something that takes money out of your pocket, and an asset is something that puts money in your pocket. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of Bitcoin and ETH and Solana and AVAX and some mid caps and some AI stuff and some fetch and some render. I'm a big fan of that. But the income is not guaranteed. We cannot guarantee the outcome. I think the probability is very high that Bitcoin will be worth more than it is now, but until it's sold, it's not really an asset. And we could really argue that all day long, but it hasn't put money in your pocket until it's sold. And so most people, they're working, they're trading their time, and they're buying liabilities with it. They buy things, cars. A house is by definition a liability if it's not putting money in your pocket. Nothing wrong with buying a house, but all I'm saying is most people, they do this. And then obviously it goes to their expenses, all goes out, done. Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad lesson. Very simple stuff. What we want to do is we want to invest that income into assets. Assets is something that pays us. Assets put money in our pocket. And then from there, if we choose, we could pay for liabilities with those assets, we could pay for expenses with the cash flow, and eventually we might even realize that, hey, I don't even need to draw an income anymore. My assets pay for my income, and then that income pays for my expenses, pays for my liabilities, etc. We optimize for cash flow. Now, we could just buy some Bitcoin, buy some ETH, buy some cryptos, and work really hard and hopefully do well on these. And we're speculating, we're hoping the market goes up. Most likely will over the long run. I'm bullish on crypto. But the fact is that investing, buying, and holding is best done when you already have money. I don't see the point of someone who's not yet free from their time to buy gold. I don't get why people do that. It's because they're scared and they don't know better. They'd be much better off instead of buying gold, or to be honest with you, instead of buying Bitcoin, to move that into assets that pay them. Now, traditionally, this was thought of as real estate. Hey, just buy some properties, they're going to pay you. And from there, you can buy some of your time back. So instead of working 8 hours, maybe you can work 3-4 hours. And now you have all this time to actually become an awesome investor. Now, real estate has gotten a little bit out of control. And in many cities, it's difficult to become profitable with a piece of real estate. But to me, DeFi is much, much better because for $8,000 here, I made $1,300. Give me a piece of real estate that you can do that. Most people, if they made $1,200 in a month off a piece of real estate where they had to put 30, 40, 50 down and take on leverage, that they'd be happy with that. We do that in a week with liquid assets that I have full control of. Anyways, so now we start building these little businesses, these little DeFi businesses. So in this instance, this is Sui USDC, and it's making me, let's just call it $1,000 a week. Now with that, I could buy back some of my time, which I think is a good move, because then I can use that time to become a better investor so I can actually seek out assets, stay on top of the markets, and actually buy things that will appreciate. But I need my time to do so. And if we're working 8-10 hours a day and we are not producing cash flow, and then with the small time we have and the small energy we have, we're trying to find investments and call ourselves investors. We're not watching the markets. We don't know what's going on. We don't have the time to be good enough to do it on a professional level. Buy back your time. And this is why we build DeFi businesses. Because I could buy back my time. Literally, I buy back my time. And now I have cash flow to be able to invest in whatever I want to, render and fetches and souls and AVAX and SUIs. But I'm really ultimately getting this stuff for free, which is pretty damn cool. I'm not trading my time for it anymore. And if you're still working, cool, but you're trading that money you're making from the time you're using, from the time you're really spending, because we're always spending time, and you're investing that money to make you more money, then you're taking that cash flow and you're buying assets. And so to me, I think people are skipping the gun and they're like, oh, I'm just going to become an investor and buy some things and hope they go up versus I will make daily profits and it'll be locked in. I am guaranteed to make a daily income when I build a DeFi business. And then from there, I can go buy, assets, or we're hoping they're assets because we're hoping they increase in value. So, I can double or triple my bags or quadruples, but I think a lot of people are like, I'm going to 100x this run. And they're like still working 40, 50 hours and they're drained and they don't. I'm like, you could buy back your time. Isn't that way more important? And a lot of people are like, oh, I don't know, money's not that important. I'm like, but you're trading all your time for it. So it's obviously the most important thing. I'm the opposite. How do I buy back my time? I know this is a big dose of truth, but I really hope it shares some insight. Would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Is time more important to you or is money? And be honest here. And would you like to change that? Build a DeFi business. I'll move my mug in the middle and I'll put some videos up here, here and here and here and here for reviewing pleasure. Study this stuff. I don't care if it's not DeFi, but like what can cash flow you? Maybe you get into something else, but like great cash flow. Buy back your time and then become an investor. Really hope that helps. With that said, I'm going to get out of here. Peace.